AI agents, the most important concept in AI, but one that so many people overcomplicate. I think people just hear the phrase agent and just instantly get super confused. So in today's video, I want to break down what an agent actually is, how to think about AI agents, and how to actually build one and apply it to your business or your personal workflows. I've been using AI agents pretty much every day for the past 18 months now, and it's how I run my entire company. And the thing that annoys me online is everyone just overcomplicates it. AI doesn't need to be this difficult. Everyone's like flexing these crazy setups online of like hundreds of agents on a screen doing all this crazy stuff, but a lot of it is just bullshit. Today, I'm going to tell you how it actually works under the hood. Essentially, an agent is just four things: context, memory, skills, and tools. I'm going to take you through all four, one at a time, and show you what it actually does. By the end of this video, you're going to know more than 99% of people when it comes to AI agents, and you'll be able to start applying this to your real life. Before we get into the four things, here's what you actually need to know about what an AI agent is and how it works. An AI agent is just an AI that can actually do things on your behalf. That's the whole definition. A chat simply talks, an agent does. And I mention this because the line's gotten blurry recently. The AIs have gotten so good that you can ask Claude or ChatGPT through the chats to develop a research report and it will just go and do it for you. So people are a bit confused now about where the chat ends and where an AI agent starts. Sometimes you ask a model a question and it answers. This isn't using an agent, this is just the chat functionality. But sometimes you'll ask it to do something and it will go off and do the work on your behalf. That's an AI agent. For example, let's say you ask it to go through your inbox, find every client email you haven't replied to in 2 weeks, and draft a response to each one. If you've got your inbox connected to the model, it just goes and does it. It goes through, finds them, and writes the draft on your behalf. If you haven't connected your inbox, then it can't. The best it can do is tell you how to do it, and you have to go about doing it yourself. So nothing about the AI changed, but what it could reach changed. So an agent isn't some type of abstract product, it's just the description of what the AI is doing at that very moment. It's essentially acting for you instead of telling you how to do something. And that's what the four things I'm going to show you actually are. They're not the steps to build an agent because it's already inbuilt. They're the four things that the AI actually needs so it can do the work for you instead of you having to do it. Context, memory, skills, and tools. Now, there's one other thing to understand about how an AI agent actually works. It doesn't just do a job in one singular go. It essentially does a step, it looks and analyzes where it's up to, and then it does the next one over and over in a loop. This is the agentic process. So for example, I'll show you a live AI agent acting right now. It essentially goes around and around before it decides when it's finally finished. And that's the bit that you can control by defining what its end parameter is or its end goal. Once it knows that, it essentially stops when it thinks that the job's done. So how you describe a job being done is basically the whole game. You have to be specific about what the end goal looks like, and it will just keep going until it gets there. Last thing before we get into it, because I think this is actually really important, you'll hear people talk about which app to use. Should I use Claude? Should I use Cowork? Should I use GPT? Should I use Gemini, Codex, whatever it is? But that is just the harness. So what is a harness? Well, the way I like to think about it is a gym. I do a lot of travel, so I might be in different places at different gyms. Dubai, London, Singapore, wherever I'm at the time. Every single gym is laid out differently. Some have racks in a weird spot, some have dumbbells stopping at a different weight, and sometimes the gym has a piece of equipment that I like that's missing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because a bench press is a bench press. As long as you know what to do, you can go to any different gym and figure it out. So I don't have to relearn how to train every single time I go into a gym. I'm just going to a different gym every time. And it's the exact same with AI harnesses. You just need to know the basics of AI agents, which I'm going to tell you today. And this same 4-step system applies to every single model that you're going to use. If you know how to train, in this case, if you know how to set up these four things, then you're going to be able to use any harness, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Codex, whatever. Now, they're not identical. Every single harness has its pros and cons, but they're all essentially made of the same stuff. So now you know what an agent is and what a harness is. Let's actually lift up the hood and break down exactly how it works. And just quickly, before we get into section 1, I want to give a shout out to Remy. He did an amazing podcast on this at Open Residency, and some of his explanations I've used to frame this video. That's like a 3-hour masterclass. So I'm trying to condense the basics down, also based on my knowledge, to something that's more concise, but definitely go and watch it if you have time and you want a full understanding of what AI agents can do. And of course, here on the channel, I'm also doing tons of guides of agents, of builds, all the complex stuff. But this video is such an important prerequisite. so you actually understand how to build things from scratch. Oh, and before we get into the next section, if you want the entire setup prompt from today's video, so you can literally plug it into the AI and get this entire folder system created on your behalf, it'll be available for free down below. Just join the Skool community, it's free. You'll get access to that alongside all of our other resources, tips, and tricks to help you level up and get better with AI. All right, let's get into the next section. All right, so the first of the 4 is context. Context is essentially just everything that an AI agent should know before you give it a job. So in the past, people used to context engineer. Essentially, they'd write these massive prompts and provide all of this information and context in order to get the output that they wanted. But now the AIs have become so smart, they don't even need a very well-structured prompt. I literally just blurt stuff out and voice prompt a lot of the time because I've created a memory system with portable context so the AI always knows everything it needs to know about me and about my business. So there are 2 options for this. You can either have a local folder, which I'll show you in today's video, or you can use a cloud system like Supabase or Supermemory, which you can plug into your AI. So essentially, you just want to create a folder and you want to create a context file. And within this context file, you just want to have information, necessary context for the AI to know about you and your business. What I recommend is you just do a session where you voice prompt with the AI, you go back and forth, and you create a 1-page document of .md files. Very important, it's .md because it's easier for the AI to ingest. And you just want to make sure you read over that document so all of the information in there is actually your real information so the AI doesn't hallucinate later. And I think the thing preventing a lot of people from using the best model is they become wedded to different LLMs. Like, oh, I can't switch to Claude from GPT because it has all my context. You should just own your own context. Otherwise, it's a black box. If you're interfacing with ChatGPT every day or Claude, you don't actually know what it knows about you. It's just saving random bits and pieces of information here and there. So you have no sovereignty over your own information. Whereas if you create your own context file, so whenever you use the AI, it has access to this through Cowork, or you can also do this on GPT through Codex, then it actually has the context of yourself and your business every single time it's answering a question, or for an AI agent, going and completing a task. So a context file is just a text file that enables you to decide what the AI knows about you. What I also like to do with my folder setups is alongside a context file, also have a folder with like any business information. So my company roadmap, any key information that it might need at certain times. You don't want to dump like 20, 30 documents in there. You only want the key stuff so the AI doesn't have to ingest so much information, because that's where you can start getting really sloppy results. So make it short, make it dense. It always beats long and thorough because it's easier for the AI to ingest. And remember, an agent is just an AI that can actually do the work for you. So it can't do the work for you if it doesn't know anything about you or your business. And that's what a context file does. Now, onboarding an AI into your business is no different to if you were going to onboard a real human employee. And I think people overcomplicate this. You just need to think of the AI like a real employee. So if a real employee comes into a business day one, what does it need? It needs context, which we just went through, of your business. Like imagine walking into a business and you didn't even know what the business did. That's essentially what we just built with that file. So it needs context. It needs the next step, which is a memory system. Then as it gets better at its job, it gets feedback, just like a real employee would get feedback if they did something well, if they did something badly. So that creates a persistent memory that enables it to pick up information from working with you. It's the same as an agent. It needs to learn what you like, what you don't like, so it can actually help your business. Next, it needs the real hard skills of how to do a job, just like an employee coming into a business would develop a skill of completing a task or a set of tasks over time. You can run that same process with an AI agent. And then a human employee also needs the tools. It needs the resources. It needs the support. It needs the physical tools like this laptop or the cloud subscriptions or whatever in the business, so it can actually succeed at its work and apply those skills to the work. And an agent is no different. It needs the tools, so the connectors, the MCPs, so it can actually do the work for you. So we've talked about the context. So the agent is coming into the business. Okay, now it understands the business. Now let's talk about the memory. So context is essentially what you've given it up front, but memory is what it learns from working with you. So your initial memory setup should be really simple. It should just have some basic facts. And then over time, it will add to this document, this MD file. And for a lot of tasks, this black and white memory system is so beneficial when it comes to AI versus human employees, because you can see everything that it remembers, and at any moment you can tweak what it remembers. It's extremely black and white. So if you tell the AI something like, don't write like that, or stop using that word, or I said no bullet points, it'll update that in the memory system, and it will have something like try and avoid bullet points, the user prefers this, when outputting this, do it like this. So unlike, when you use the chats and, it just keeps doing things you don't like, you're actually training the AI to follow your preferences. Then what I like to have alongside memory.md is instructions.md. These are essentially the instructions for the AI to understand how to behave, but also how to adjust memory. So you can have a line in instructions like, every single time I give you a new relevant piece of context, update memory.md, inform me that you've updated memory.md, and make sure that you are only updating the most essential facts that could have a material impact on my workflow or my business. This way, memory.md, as long as you're using Claude Code or Cowork, something that can edit and access local folders, or you're using Codex on GPT, which is how you should probably be interfacing for your business anyway, then it's going to be able to just amend this memory file based on the instructions that it's following. And in the instructions file, you can also tell it like really how you want it to behave. I want you to speak like a professional strategist. I want you to keep your answers short and concise. However you like to work, you were telling it how to work. Just like a human employee, a boss would set some ground rules. Come in at this time, leave at this time, behave in this way, follow this company culture. That's the only thing the instructions file is actually doing. And as I said before, you can take this folder system and you can do it online. You can ask AI to build a Superbase Postgres system, which automatically updates to the cloud or connects to the cloud. You can use super memory, which is a bit more cohesive and applies to multiple applications. If you want it on the cloud, the benefit to that is, if something happens to your device, then you're always going to have that data. But what I recommend people do is they either back up some of their data to the cloud if you're going to use a local memory system periodically. So if something happens to your device, it gets stolen. If you can't access your computer or something, you have access. As long as you've got like two-factor authentication, so people can't just hack your data essentially. All right, so now the AI has context, it has memory. The third piece, which is extremely important, are skills. This is so you don't have to keep re-explaining to an agent how to do something. You explain how to do it once, you give it feedback over time, and then it's able to execute that task on your behalf. Skills are a game changer. They work on GPT. They also work extremely well on Claude. And most of my agentic workflows fall back on a skill. A skill, by definition, is just a step-by-step document or set of processes for one specific job, essentially like an SOP that you would give to a staff member. So if you had a new hire an SOP on how to do the weekly accounting for their department, you would basically have a list of standard operating procedures. Firstly, open this sheet. Secondly, reconcile the data with your client database. Thirdly, get it checked by the senior accountant. And fourthly, report to your direct report. Like you would have a set of operating procedures. Now, I have these in my business, but instead, where possible, I take those operating procedures and I make them into skills so that entire process is being automated by an AI agent. So an agent will read it when a job comes up. For example, if I'm producing a video, I have a video production skill. I'll ask the agent to use that skill. It will read that skill because I trained it on my exact process and it will be able to execute on my behalf. I've done a dedicated video on this on Claude specifically. If you want to check it out, I'll link it below, which goes into this in more depth. But if you want to create a skill, the first way is just to use the skill creator, go /skill creator, and it will walk you through the process of building a skill. The second way, which I really enjoy doing at the moment, is actually screen recording. There's a new functionality on Claude and ChatGPT that enables you to speak, so verbalize a process alongside screen recording, and it essentially enables you to walk through a process. Just like if I had a new hire sitting next to me looking at how I research YouTube videos and I was showing him or her and I was explaining it, it's the same thing for the AI, except you're screen recording and you're verbalizing it. It's using that to create a skill, and this skill can now be mobilized whenever you're trying to do a particular task. So context makes the AI agent know about your business, memory makes sure that it remembers things over time, and skills makes it actually able to do the job that you want it to do the way you want it done. All right, now fourthly, let's talk about the tools. This is so important, and AI is particularly good at this now, and this is probably the one thing alongside skills that is going to give you the highest leverage improvement when it comes to using and getting the most out of AI. So as I said before, you can't have an employee, expected to do video editing and then not give them a computer. They don't have the tools to do it. How are they going to edit? It's the same thing with AI. If you wanted to go into your Google Drive and organize folders, if it's not connected to Google Drive through a connector, how is it going to do it? So an out-of-the-box agent, a Claude chat, it can't touch everything. Now, it does have some inbuilt connections and it does have information and it can access the internet, but it doesn't have the ability to read pages properly, pull data at scale, use a browser, get into your accounts, do all of these things that it needs to actually have an impact like a real employee would. So I'll run you through on Claude right now something really cool. If you go into Cowork, click the plus button, and GPT has its own connectors as well. If you're on GPT, you can go to connectors and you can see you can use connectors so it can tap into other data sources or other applications. And if you go to Claude settings and then go down to connectors, you can see there's a connector library where you can plug into all sorts of different things. Like something I like using is FMP. This gives me live stock and crypto data. So when I'm prompting, I get the live prices and real earnings reports. I've connected to Quiver to track insider trades. So I get alerts when weird transactions come up that I could potentially act on for market alpha. I've connected it to Google Drive to edit my company drive. I've connected it to Notion so I can just voice prompt and give it a new task that it adds to my task CRM. All of the things that the agent actually needs to act on my behalf as my true employee or real personal assistant. So the context, the memory, the skills, all of the stuff we talked about, these live on your computer or, in the cloud in a folder system. But tools are the only one out of the four where it can actually reach the outside and do something on your behalf. And this is where AI agents really start to shine. For example, I'll get Claude to try and edit my Google Drive. I'll get it to create a new folder within my Google Drive. Clearly, it's not able to do it because I don't have the connector turned on. Now let's turn on the connector and I'll ask it to create a folder. Now it's able to edit my Google Drive, as you can see. Okay, let's go a step up for that. Let's try and get Claude to use Seed Dance, which is a video model that's not actually on Claude. Let's try and get it to do a video on Seed Dance. So let's ask it to do a video of someone sitting at their desk on their computer recording a video in the studio. And you can see it's created the video on a model that's not even on Claude because it has the tools. And something I love doing is stock market stuff because Claude is really not reliable when it comes to getting real information. For example, if you ask Claude to get the earnings report of Nvidia, it's going to be scraping off Yahoo Finance, whereas FMP is going to be able to go into the NASDAQ and get the real earnings report. So the data is just so much more accurate. And I find the live pricing data is just so much more accurate as well. So especially when it comes to finance, investing, like you really need to be using these tools or you're reliant on Claude's like web scraping abilities, which just isn't that strong compared to when it has access to the real data. All right, now you know how to create a killer system. Let's talk about how you can stack them all together to really tie all of this in. So context knows my business before I ask the agent to do something. The memory learns over time about my preferences and about how I wanted to behave. The skills have an exact teardown of my process step by step because I did it properly one time and I keep giving it feedback over time to get better. And the tools can go and get the data itself instead of asking me to go and get the data. And that is like the biggest hack if you want to literally feel like AI is doing the work for you. If you want to take it a step further, I've also talked about this in a separate video, which I'll link below. You can use /loop and you can use the scheduling feature on GPT or Claude. So you can actually start scheduling tasks automatically. So you can have a market report sent to you every morning. You could have your accounting done every single week. So you can combine all of this and run this on like automated loops. And that is like the next steps once you understand agents. So every single time I go into a conversation with AI now, it has those four things. So when I ask my Claude a question about my business, or when I ask my Claude to do something, it's actually able to do it. Whereas if you don't have this set up and you just use the chat, it won't be able to impact your business. I've essentially created a set of AI employees under this framework. And if you want the full framework from today's video, so you can actually put this prompt into Claude and it will set up this entire system for you. And you can also do it in GPT. It'll create the entire folder system and run you through this process. You can get it for free down below. If you become a part of my Skool community, it's an amazing community. We have all of the resources there from each one of these videos. And we have live sessions and mentors to help you get even better. And that community is dedicated to helping you continue to get the edge with AI. So as new tools come out, as we find new best practices, we'll keep you updated there. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope I was able to simplify AI agents for you so you'll be able to run your own agents and crush it with whatever you're doing with AI. See you in the next one. Peace out.